All right, this is Thomas Joseph, and I am here, part of the African and the American. She's the African.
Of course, he's the American.
And you know, she's the African.
And he is the American.
That's right. She's the African.
And he is the American.
And I wanted to share some tips with you of some things you could look out for and some things that can help you be a little more prepared when you visit Africa. I have been in Africa several times now, 3 different countries. Right now I'm in Congo. And so some of these tips may apply to more to certain countries than others, but this will be very helpful that I found out when you're visiting, and I'll go through them fast. First thing I want to say, it's good to know someone before you go to an African country. I have connections because I'm a pastor for one thing, and so I've made connections with pastors before I came and different people in the ministry. And so when I come, I'm usually going on a mission trip. In Congo now, we're very fortunate that my wife is from here and we have a big family here. So we know many people in Congo. It's good to know someone, to build a relationship with someone before you venture off and just go to Africa. That's very helpful because if you know someone, they're looking out for you, they can help you avoid different pitfalls when it comes to spending money, finding a place to stay, and things like that. All right, now some other practical tips. Watch your head. In Africa, you may find that they're not very aware sometimes of safety concerns in many ways, like you got to watch your head. Like I bumped my head pretty bad 2 times in 1 hour the other day, and I learned this very quickly in this time I was here. One bathroom I went into, when you step up to use it, there's a wall that comes, and if you're not careful, you could really bang your head, for example. And I found out that toilet is probably only made for a woman who could sit down in it, not stand. So that was a very rough lesson. Then another thing, watch out when you're going down hallways and different places. Like I also banged my head on a thing that the air conditioner sits on, like a pipe. So I didn't know it was low, I didn't see it. And so be careful. Now I'm kind of tall. I'm 6'1", so this, if you're not as tall as I, you don't have to worry as much, but watch your head where you're going. Another thing, watch your steps. Watch where you're walking. There's a process or a way that they build things where a lot of times you step up into something or step down into something, whether into a room, or it could be in one room where there's multiple levels, On some of the streets aren't as clearly paved and things like that as where I come from, the USA. So some streets could have big, rocks sitting along the pathway. It could be uneven. It could be a dip in there. You gotta watch where you're walking, where you can trip and fall. Also, when it comes to walking, like in Congo, many of the streets have like 3-foot drop downs into like a sewerage area. So if you're not careful, you step into one of those and you can get really, really hurt bad. If you plan on driving when you go to Africa, it's probably not a good idea to think you're going to drive here, at least for a little while until you learn the process. The driving, you got to be skilled to drive here. I don't know how they do it, but people here drive and they look so calm, and there's cars left and right coming, motorbikes, people, and usually there's no stop lights or anything like that, so they got to make it through the intersection and I'm trying to figure out how do they do it. It is always a fascinating thing to watch, and when I'm in a car and people are driving, I'm just amazed every time. And then a lot of streets have those ditches, those drop downs. So if you're driving and your tire goes into one of them, wow, I don't know what, but the thing in Africa, they always find a way to fix a solution if something happens. So that's one good thing about here. Okay, next thing, you might want to bring some kind of purification device for your water. It could be a simple thermos with a filter in that you could buy at Walmart or a store or something like that. Even though they have what is called purified water and things, what I've been told, you don't want to trust all of that water. So we always bring a thermos and different devices to purify water. Another thing, electronics. You can bring anything that charges with a USB port or a cell phone charger or computer charger here. You don't want to bring any other electrical device unless it's those things, otherwise it could blow your device up. Cell phone is okay, you could charge it once you get their adapter, just a simple adapter that you could plug your cell phone charger in this adapter, and it doesn't hurt the cell phones, but you don't want to bring other electronic things, or you'll just ruin it, most likely. But a good thing to remember, you could bring chargeable things like chargeable lights, and the lights that we bring, they also work as mosquito killers. So when there's no electric, which here most days we have electric, but it's not usually all day. It could be off like for hours at a time, maybe even 15 hours it could be off. Sometimes it could be on the whole day. You never know. So if you bring chargeable things like even a power bank, okay, so I got a couple power banks which I keep charged, so then when the electric goes off I can charge my phone, charge those lights. I have found a fan, different fans you could charge like a cell phone. So you charge them up and the electric goes off, and that could come in real handy when you're, if it's too hot, and you just turn that fan on and you got it. So I brought 3 of them with me because the electric can go off at any time. So we have air conditioning in our apartment, but then when the electric goes off, those fans come in handy, the lights, power banks, so all of those things, and you can charge, like I say, your cell phones and everything, no problem. They're built to work, I guess, in every country. So that's anything with a USB chargeable port in there. Also, one thing I found that's very good, because sometimes when you go to a different country, something might not sit well in your stomach, whether it's food or water. I always bring like at least a quart of aloe vera juice, or really aloe vera juice. That I've had it where something upset me, drink about a half a cup of that, and almost within a minute the problem disappears. There's something amazing about the aloe juice, so I would recommend bringing that. You can always find malaria pills, for example, in Africa, a lot cheaper than if you was to buy them in the States. Now that's something you could choose in your own medical choice, but we always wait till we get to Africa, then we buy you can get a whole dose for like $5 or $10 here, which can last at least like a month or 2 or 3, versus spending $5 or $10. But in America you might spend $100, $200 on those pills. last thing I'll share with this video, depending on what country you're in, like in Congo, the culture right now is where security, police officers, for example, they're always out there helping you park the car. Of course, I don't drive, but the people that I'm in, they will direct you and kind of watch your car, when you're in the store. So it's always good to have some small bills of the currency of that country. In Congo, they have the franc, it's called. So $1 is worth 2,000 of theirs. $1 worth 2,000. Now, so whenever we encounter one of the police officers or something like that and they're assisting us, it's good to have the smaller bills. Like the $500 ones are only worth like 25 cents of our money, but they appreciate it if you give them like a $500, 500 franc, but it's only worth 25 cents to us. But if they're helping you or whatever, and you hand them that, they are so glad and they appreciate it, and if you don't give it to them, they might be a little upset. So, and then also, not only police officers and people like that, but there may be some children that are on the streets that are poor, or even some elderly people sometimes. And if you give them like 500, maybe 1,000, which would only be 50 cents worth, they're very, very grateful for that. So have small bills, because you don't want to walk around and then not be able to share at all, because you can meet appropriate people that it would be right to share with. So those are just some simple tips that I think would be very helpful. And thanks for watching, and check out the other videos we have of our trips to Africa and other places, even in the US. And thanks for watching.